Yes, thank you for staying tuned. Earlier on, we said we had the MD CEO of the Inside Out Media Limited here. And I would need to say that she is a very, at her age, you won't even know. She still looks as if she's younger than me. Still looking
totally
very
agree.
pretty, yes?
I
Still looking
totally
very
agree.
pretty. Please, we have Miss Agatha Amata here in the studio with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Amina and Dapo.
Good morning.
It's good to have someone that has been doing this for over 20 years.
Exactly.
Being interviewed on the show this morning. Yes. in 2005, yes, you started a foundation for effective social economic change in Africa called FESECA. Yes, and just fast forwarding to 2018, you want to rebrand that. Please take us through the journey so far.
Well, here's what it is. Because Inside Out with Agatha, the talk show at the time, was dealing with a lot of social issues, I remember a feeling of hopelessness when you finish dealing with an issue and then you're not able to do anything beyond that. And then people come to you because they're looking for hope. They want a solution. When they discuss one of the ones that I simply won't forget was the woman who had her husband set her on fire and locked her in the room and assumed she was dead. And we went to interview her in the house when we're talking about domestic violence, and she urgently needed Medicare. I think that was probably one of the things that inspired me to, and I was like, we can't just talk about this and then not do anything. And I remember that I then had my first special where we brought out her case. When we dealt with the issue, it was more because her husband was still free. He said nothing will happen to him.
Wow.
And when I took on the case, it was more to bring justice. But I found out that beyond bringing justice, we needed to help the woman. Her children were out of school. She was a walking saw. That's the only, if you put on the light, she would scream. And so that gave rise to the feeling that we could do more. And along with Project Alert at the time, who brought the issue to our notice, we did a special recording for her. And we were able to raise enough money to send her abroad. Then Inside Out was showing, I think in every state in Nigeria, and it was showing in the UK as well. And people really donated money. And that sort of opened a new window for me because it showed me that we could do beyond talking and actually start to provide solutions. We had another case where a policeman shot his girlfriend and removed half of her face.
Wow.
Also, because they didn't have money, the police were playing around with them and all of that. And having taken on the case, we also realized that there was a need to help her. She needed skin grafting. I mean, she would drink water, everything would come out the side of her face. And that really gave rise to FESECA.
Okay.
The need to start to do more than just using the media to highlight issues.
I mean, you mentioned some really, really critical issues that, of course, would have put some sort of financial burden, on you to be able to at least address some of these issues. How were you able to sustain the weight of all of that, the foundation?
First of all, I would like to say I thank God. Most of it I did personally, but my friends suffered. Anybody who is my friend. I also remember when they called me to the Juvenile Welfare Center in Alakara, and I got there and I saw small children locked up like they did something wrong. And I was told that that is the place where any child that is missing in Lagos would end up. It haunted me. In fact, when I got home, I first of all just disconnected the TV in my living room and sent it there. We started mosquito netting and all of that. Most of it I did on my own, and then with the help of a lot of friends who were kind enough and who also shared the same kind of view that you don't have to wait for government to do everything. Start with your own small space, do what you can. And what this has taught me over the years is that when you take care of God's work, God will take care of yours. For me, that's the summary of everything. Knowing that being in a position to give is not as a result of your hard work, is grace.
Now, the very fortunate thing is that we have someone like you, and I would just say very few, others out there that are doing, this kind of work. However, we see that there's still increased rates, in violence, domestic violence, in homes. We see that there's more of, youth restiveness in our society. These are things that you also touched, and then the foundation, touched. What do you think is missing right now in our society?
I think it's our value system that's eroding, really. I mean, I always use, my mom was a widow quite early. We're 7 children. And I remember I still wake up at about 4 or 5 every morning because I was brought up to understand that I have to be awake. The boys in my house cook. There was no such thing as it's a girl's job. They can cook better than some of us. On the day the boys cook, my mom would say they should make pounded yam and egusi. In fact, they had to work harder. My 3 brothers can cook. I can do the kind of things they do, whether there was no segregation like this is the job for a man and this is the job for a woman. We were brought up to respect human beings. Value for money, love for money has sort of taken over a lot of common sense. A situation where a mother knows that her child cannot afford what she's wearing and decides to look the other way. When you know that your son doesn't work and he buys you a car and you call people and celebrate. Parents are failing.
Over the years.
Are failing. We did not transfer what we were taught to the new generation. There's a gap.
All right.
And I think that's what's giving rise to
Okay, just please, just help me, let me open the phone lines for our viewers to call in. The number to dial is 09060005100. Please, when calling in, kindly turn down the volume on your TV sets. We have the MD CEO, Inside Out Media Limited, Miss Agatha Amata. I don't know why I keep adding Miss. It just means me still having my courtesy. Right now, you're actually calling me Agatha, right?
You can call me Agatha. You're allowed.
Yes. Okay, so just moving to it before before you say something.
Okay.
You're about to rebrand the FESECA, that's the Foundation for Effective Social Economic Change in Africa, to Inside Out with Agatha Foundation. Why?
Once I handed over the program to Sandra and Charles, who, by the way, are doing a fantastic job. I sit and I watch it, and I'm very proud. I realized that there needed to still be a connection to the NGO, and as FESECA, which is Foundation for Effective Socio-Economic Change in Africa, a lot of people will not realize it's me. I get a lot of requests by virtue of what I have been doing over the years. And most of the complaints I heard was, oh, you're not doing anything anymore. And so I thought, okay.
Please, can you hold your thoughts there? Let me speak to our first caller on this segment who will speak to you. Peter, thank you for calling us.
Thank you very, very much. I'm so pleased to see her for a very long time. By God's grace, God has given me a lot of years on earth. Okay. And I would say I started watching her show when she started on NTA. I've been wondering, each time I watch Wave TV and I see Inside Out, I always just say Inside Out with Agatha, Inside Out with Agatha. Where is she? I never knew she has been at the back. Please, ma'am, I want to say that the good work you're doing is I would like to see come out once in a while, support them. And people like that one, please take good care of her very well. Listen to the word she says. I'll tell you this. No, listen. Listen, let me say this. I'll tell you this for one. You can hear her speak. That is to tell you the divine, divine nature of God embedded in her. You can hear God speaking through her. And that's the things I try to speak on the program when I talk. I don't just talk because I want to make comments. And let me tell you this, you're not the first person telling me to come on the show, maybe like an analyst. There's another TV station even inviting me, it's still in Lagos too. And I'm telling you, because I speak for the benefit of people.
All right.
And he said I say that, madam, please keep up your good work. May God bless you. Please, once in a while, come to support Angela and the rest of them and let them keep up the good work. May the work go on, and God will be with you always, all the day of your life.
Amen.
Thank you very much, Peter. Peter is one person who would always preach.
I always hear it.
Now, you were talking about your rebranding steps.
Yeah, so I thought that there was a need to still have that link. and for people to still be able to identify that we're doing all of these things. I'm going to be turning 49 on the 4th of November. They say women don't say their age. I wonder why. I say my age everywhere.
That's what I said too.
I'm going to be turning 49 on the 4th of December. And for everybody who knows me, they know that I don't joke with presents. I love presents. In fact, it's compulsory. But I decided this year